All right, Pot of Gold, welcome back. I'm Brett. I'm here with Mike Grant, the intern, still on vacation. Everyone's got to get their December vacations in. Some people enjoy Thanksgiving, some people enjoy Black Friday, other people enjoy the beach. I would have rather been at a beach than at home, waiting all day to enjoy a nice little LSU beatdown of Texas A&M. I had unbelievable, like an unrelenting clip of Jimbo memes and gifs, like just ready to fire off, and couldn't use any of them. Mike, the guarantee didn't work. I thought we willed it to victory.
Listen, man, I'm on my second bottle of Listerine trying to wash out the urine from my cereal bowl. They wanted to piss in our Cheerios, and they did. That's exactly what Texas A&M did. They called their shot. They pointed to left field, and they struck it. So, it's a disappointing with a capital Big D end to the regular season, which was an otherwise fantastic year and a very, very exciting season to be a part of and to witness Brian Kelly laying the foundation for LSU football. But I can't state enough. It's a bad day. It was a sad day.
Sad day.
It was a bad day. Yeah, 2 bottles of Listerine to get the urine taste from the Cheerios. It is what it is. We'll get into the game. I do want to just make sure we put it out there. I'm a writer. I'm still writing. I don't think this is a get rid of the coaches. They didn't have them prepared.
We didn't change the title of the episode. Keep going. Let's
I put down Goes LSU.
Oh, I didn't. I don't see that. Okay, fine. We're good. I'll check YouTube.
You can edit if you want. No, but an otherwise incredible season by LSU, overachieving, and we ran out of steam. We ran out of gas. The depth was a problem. Credit Texas A&M for totally taking Harold Perkins out of the game and literally just running us over with brute strength. But again, dude, 17-17 mid third quarter. We had scored 3 of the last 4 times. We stopped them twice. Momentum is a hell of a drug in college football. And unfortunately, that fumble was the one that sealed our fate and finished our season. So it sucks.
Yeah. Before we kind of get into the pod and really discuss the game and I guess the season, look ahead to the SEC championship game against Georgia, which Mike, are we still going? Check.
It's on the fence right now. My nutsack is on the fence, and I think the left side is favoring go.
Okay.
But we're not committed yet. Room is secured, tickets are secured. We don't know yet.
But yeah, guys, hit us up on Twitter at Pot of Gold, at GoldMike, potofgold@gmail.com. If you're listening now, make sure you can check in the live chat on YouTube or Twitch, anywhere else, and join the live chat, get some questions in. We normally get a good little group of people in here that get a little rowdy in the chat. How we doing?
No questions about if we should fire Brian Kelly. No questions about Walker Howard starting over Jaden Daniels from this point on.
I'll be the one to ask the Walker Howard questions.
We're not getting into any of that craziness right now. There will be a whole off season to talk about how Walker Howard should start over Jaden Daniels or a returning senior Heisman, I don't know about now, contender returning. We'll get into that. We'll get into all that. Not tonight. Maybe.
I know it's going to happen tonight, Mike. Don't you worry. Because it's just a funny roller coaster of discussion we've had all year, because I don't want to get into it yet. It felt like coming out of that UAB game when LSU was able to just kind of walk in there, handle business, look professional, get the job done. A&M looked average at best in their first win in 2 months against a UMass team. It felt like a relief, like, okay, this team's going to be able to kind of do that same thing. I'm not worried about the letdown spot. And I don't know if you said it on the pod or if you said it when we were talking before, but it did feel like this team just kind of ran out of gas. Like they were on fumes. They ran into a team that wanted to piss in their Cheerios,
Mhm.
that we gave them a little bit of extra juice early in the game, let them get some momentum, and we just weren't ready for it. It felt it was a sad day. It was a bad day.
You know, all season, we've kind of looked like this,
Yeah,
and we've dug ourselves out of it, and there's some team that folded against LSU because we willed ourselves to victory. And that's kind of been our theme until we beat Alabama. And then all of a sudden, like things started changing. It was like, wait, we're a good football team. We can go out and play with anybody type of stuff. And that's just not true. At the end of the day, there's a lot of areas of weakness on this team. We can't throw the ball vertically. I mean, we saw that all season.
fire didn't Brock.
We have a lack of depth at the defensive line. I mean,
Fire Polian.
for whatever reason, I mean, listen, Roy and Wingo played their ass off, but it was reminiscent of 2016 when you only had a handful of D tackles that could rotate in and out. At some point, they're bought and paid for five-star offensive linemen are going to you're going to succumb to that pressure. A Chain ran like an animal. I mean, like
Yeah,
he had his best night of his life against LSU with a depleted defensive line. They took Harold Perkins out of the game. And like you said earlier off pod, dude, if you're gonna take a pass rusher out the game, you're gonna run the football, right? That's how you do it, and that's exactly what they did. We had no answer for it. We had nobody to really step up in the box and fill the gaps. Greg Penn and Baskerville both played a lousy game, a hell of a time to play a lousy game.
yeah.
We kind of had our fingers crossed, right, for that typical Matt House adjustment. We'll figure it out, and this game will be over. The difference this game is, you give a team that has nothing to play for a little bit of life early with the talent that they do have. No one ever discredited the amount of talent they had. But this is a type of team that you give them a little bit when they have nothing to play for. They're going to execute. We didn't execute. You can't go into Kyle Field, Kyron Lacey, and drop two very crucial passes like that. One of which should have been, I think, a go ahead touchdown at one point. You can't go in there putting the ball on the ground. I know we
Yeah.
recovered a fumble in the beginning, but then Jaden went ahead and fumbled it away. That turned the tide. You can't be dependent on the referees, right? Like towards the end of the game, the no pass interference call. It's like you shouldn't have been in that position where it's determined by a referee to keep your
Yeah.
momentum going. A flag on Emory Jones on the one big escape that Jaden had, it shouldn't be dependent on a nice flag. Like that's like
You
you
reminded
shouldn't
me of Brian Kelly calling the ref a fucking coward.
have, did he say that? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He gave him an effing coward right
Good,
to him. Oh,
good.
dude, that's what I love. We talked a lot about, how Brian Kelly's more like personable than we thought. And we kind of thought he was an asshole when he was at Cincinnati and Notre Dame. He is that. It's just only to the referees.
Yeah, he
Like
gets
he's a
fired on the
savage to the
sideline.
refs.
But it's so articulate too. I know fucking coward is not, but like obviously you can read his lips well enough to know that he's like articulating
Yeah.
every syllable. Like he's in there like you fucking coward. Like are you kidding me? But
Um,
yeah, dude, it shouldn't have gotten to that point where the referees were even a factor. We were the better football team, but we got pushed around. And A&M at the end of the day deserved to win that football game. They beat the shit out of LSU. And it was very unfortunate to witness in a tough pill to swallow all night with my Aggie in-laws all night. I
put
can't.
the score on the cup.
Oh, the whole thing. I mean, it was their Super Bowl, and they love it, and they love admitting that. I don't understand the Aggie obsession with LSU, and it's such a fabricated corporate rivalry that has now been validated. We've lost 3 times in a row there. It's now a thing.
I wanna take this time to give Brian Kelly his due credit because an all-time move is to call a timeout with 17 seconds left and completely ruin a field rush when you just got beat by a team who had 4 wins.
The
Like
most pathetic field rush I've ever seen. Credit to BK.
It's such a like, I mean, bravo, chef's kiss, incredible all-time move, and they just kept showing the one Stephen Shea looking kid like, "Wait, guys, wait." Like, everyone else is just like, no one gives a fuck, dweeb, and they're hopping over the fence, like, just an incredible move by BK. Like, I just we have to I might bring it up again later if we get, some more people in the live chat just so everyone is aware of it.
No, it was great. It was a great call to kinda end that rush. One, it was out of necessity. Like, our players would have gotten killed because they were literally, like, on our sideline before the second to last play even happened. So I think he was kinda saving some of that aggression from some of our guys, which I think one of them took a fan out. Good for them. The kid, I don't know if you saw that video, but the kid was clearly trying to get a little Instagram cred and just wasn't looking at all and got just fucking run over. I don't know by who. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna assume it
we
was
don't
like
name names.
Mashburn or Stores.
Yeah, we don't name names on this podcast.
Um, yeah, dude, kind of a
It
bummer,
just
man. It's one of those deflating. It just takes everything out of the SEC championship, and obviously, as fans, we have every right in the world to look ahead, but it kind of looked like LSU was looking ahead. The football
100%.
team was not playing with the attitude, with the aggression, with the execution that we saw the week before against UAB. It just
But
didn't.
we
It
kinda
didn't
are
happen.
who we are. I mean,
Yeah,
all season, I feel like I've tried to say it's like when you win, you're not as good as everyone says, and when you lose, you're not as good as everyone says. And it felt like LSU started feeling themselves a little bit. We're number 5, whatever we are. We're gonna everyone's beating A&M. We're just gonna walk in like, "Hey, maybe I think we can beat Georgia." And all of a
yeah.
sudden, A chain just runs down your face all fucking night. And I mean, there was just no stopping it. So yeah, a tough pill to swallow. I told you, it's like, man, how different would we feel if we lost the Arkansas game coming off of an Alabama win and then finish up the season with a W? Because I don't know, it does scare me a little bit with all the momentum LSU has built up and recruiting and how this season's gone to lose to A&M, to play the best team in the country, and then to go to a bowl game and potentially win, potentially lose, ending the season like that. I mean, it's
Well,
scary.
yeah, what also sucks is it's like the SEC championship, the even if you pull it off, winning the SEC championship does not get you postseason play. Like, and
Yeah.
that's what sucks. That's what kind of takes, hopefully not for the kids, but it takes some of that motivation away of like, oh, let's go in, let's spoil the SEC championship for Georgia. Why? So they can be ranked number 3 in the playoffs and go win it. Like, it's not like we're gonna accomplish anything. Um, Listen, winning the SEC championship would be fucking massive. But the fact that you're not going to get a chance to play and compete for the national championship as an SEC champion
There's not
because
that
of a
carrot.
loss to yeah, because of a loss to Texas A&M,
Yeah.
it's like, how do you bounce back from that? That'll be like if these kids are able to respond at least like 50% juice, I will be very happy for how this team finishes out. If they go to Atlanta and just get fucking donkey slapped around, and we see the exact same team that we saw against A&M, it's just a really sour taste after, like we said, an otherwise extremely impressive, overachieving season.
It's just so funny to think about like LSU sitting at 9-3 with Florida State being one of the losses and Tennessee. I don't know. It's just no one would have ever predicted this is how LSU got here. But
It's wild. We
incredible
beat Bama,
season.
dude. We beat Alabama. At the end of the day, if we would have gone into the, and I know this has been kind of the thing everyone says, and you've read a million times, and everybody that you have in the world has said it. If you would have woken up, and after a coma in December, and you're 9-3 playing for the SEC championship, and you would have a win over Alabama, would you take that? You take it every single day.
Yeah.
It's just, it's how it's the A&M team that you lost to. That's the bitterness. It's
Yeah.
the fact that like these kids couldn't play the entire year. And then all of a sudden we got their A game at the end of the season. But that just shows you who LSU was. LSU had a target on their back, and we did not rise to the occasion to defend it.
And it's just a flawed team. Like, it's a incredible job of coaching, it's an incredible job of players buying in, stepping up, staying healthy, performing, that LSU's gotten to this point. But, we've talked about it for the last couple weeks. This is most likely gonna be Brian Kelly's least talented team at LSU. So it's like, you just have to respect the foundation that's being built. I mean,
Yeah, and that's we went
Glenn
back and
Gilbo's
forth.
got some fucking tweet about Florida being better than in a better spot than LSU. I'm glad we don't have Napier right about now.
Yeah, no, no. Oh, you're talking about his original tweet about
Yeah, I just,
yeah, yeah. I
it's
thought
like
he did
we're
it again after we lost to A&M. Just like, brother, like, how are
I
you
agree.
allowed in the office? Um, no, but and that's the thing, man. Perspective is something that you really need to think about. And like I tweeted this morning, college football is just the definition of the term prisoner of the moment. I mean, like it's the accolades, the awards, the media rush, the echo chamber. It's all about what happened this past Saturday. People are shitting all over Ohio State, which a week before they were unbeatable, right? Michigan didn't have a chance. This week we're talking about how Brian Kelly's awful, deserves no credit. LSU should have won 10 games easily, yada yada yada. Where a couple weeks ago we literally were sitting here saying, holy shit, how did we get to even this point during this year with his least talented squad? And I have a feeling people are going to start flipping that. People are going to start being like, oh no, this is a really talented team. We have to replace Converse. We have to replace Gardner. It's like we replaced Stingley and Ricks with those guys. Like we
Right.
found replacements. We need to develop our guys, and we are in a place now where we have pieces put together to develop that talent that we have coming in. We're going to be fine. This is a good program. Brian Kelly has built a very, very solid foundation, massive exposure in year one, just all over the media. And honestly, other than the stank eye, the pink eye, the stank from A&M, otherwise, dude, like it's been all roses with LSU. It's been all positivity. And at the end of the day, I don't think this is how we're going to be remembered. I really don't. I think this is something that A&M is never going to forget. But I also think this is something that like we're going to build on, we're going to learn from. And it's an opportunity, dude. Like Brian Kelly and this team have seen every scenario. They have seen every situation. How do you bounce back from losing the opener against a fucking ACC team? How do you bounce back against being dominated by Tennessee? How do you bounce back from dominating Alabama and going from that high and going on the road and clawing your way against Arkansas? Now, how do you bounce back against a Georgia team after getting your ass kicked versus Texas A&M? It's like Brian Kelly saw every scenario that he could see for his tenure in year one, and he's going to figure out how to get over the hump.
It's wild because this team could have easily been 11-1 today,
Insane.
and we could have easily probably been 6-6, like right where Florida is.
And I think talent wise and depth wise, we probably should have. Like
Mhm.
I think with any other coach, I really think that shows just how valuable the process that Brian Kelly put in place. And I don't want to turn this podcast into a Brian Kelly suckfest because of all weeks. It's
That's for
really
a
not
different
this
day
one.
entirely.
Right. But you gotta like if you're recapping the season in general, it's all about Brian Kelly. It's all about
Mhm.
the staff that he put together and how they were
Alignment.
able to overachieve. And you're right, dude. I mean, Vegas had us at 6.5 for the season. And they're pretty right on. If you really look at how we won and how we lost, it was right around that number. And the fact that we finished with 9 wins in the regular season, which absolutely should have been number 10 against A&M, it speaks volumes about the staff, about how the kids were bought in, and that they believed whatever he sold, whatever that shit that he was selling, he got these kids to buy in. And I'm very confident that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. We're going to continue to improve.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have Georgia. So that's
Unfortunately, we're running into, and I still think, look, is LSU gonna go into the, Georgia Dome and win that game? Most likely not. I still think
right.
they can. I think obviously Daniel's, mobility will play a large factor into that, but this team, whenever LSU was down, I don't know, 14, down 21, it's like DMs start coming in of like, fuck this. And like, everyone, people obviously pissed. I'm
Yeah.
just like, this team's got heart. Like, we gotta kind of see how this unfolds. This team's got heart. And once again, on LSU's probably worst night since being in the Superdome against Florida State, similar to that game, all of a sudden at the end, they start picking it up and figuring it out and giving themselves a chance. And I'm not saying by the rules that that's a catch, but like we got to figure out how to change the rules of
Yeah.
of what's a catch, because like that's got to be a touchdown. You have to like survive the ground, the cameraman, the track, the fucking border collie. Like what are we doing?
Well, there has to be consistency with the calls, period. Like like if I'm A&M, I'm screaming no catch because he bobbled it out of bounds. He bobbled it outside after he caught it. If I'm LSU, I'm screaming touchdown because we've seen those go back and forth.
Vertical receiver clause. Like, how what a fucking treat of Matt Austin coming out from the fucking woodwork to be like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, as we talk about all the time, there is the vertical receiver clause in the contract." And everyone's like, "Excuse me, what the fuck is the vertical receiver clause?"
Yeah. Pretty ball. I mean, and honestly, a great catch by Trey Jenkins. He just didn't finish it to the ground.
He also didn't sell it at all. He like
Oh, he
walked
got
away.
up and was like, "Oh."
He was walked away like, "Shoot, darn it."
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But,
but
dude, when you're in that stadium, there's something very deflating about Kyle Field. You know nothing's gonna go your way. I've been there, dude. I've been in that 72 environment where it's just like, you're not gonna get a call here. You're not gonna get anything go your way. It shouldn't get to that point. But you're right. I mean, what a bullshit, egregious, like, interpretation of what a
yeah,
catch
it's
is.
like,
And
what I
that's
get it. I get it. The rules are the rules, and you gotta like hold on to the ball. But it's like we gotta figure out when like anyone in the world can be like, oh yeah, he's caught that ball, had it for a while, and then like after the play he drops it. And it's like,
or waving off a
nope,
PI because the discussion was, well, he was going for the ball. Okay, so are we just it's just free game, it's just backyard brawl now?
let's just
It's like
fuck
fucking
people up.
3 flies in, like, we can just jump for it? Like, that's exactly what it was, and it's always in, like, these critical moments. It's not just
Mhm.
like, "Oh, we'll overcome this." It's like, "Well, that's the game." Like, "Thanks,
Yeah,
bud." That's the game. That's momentum. Like, we're not stopping Achin, so we gotta move the football. So if you're gonna pick up that flag, like, you might as well seal our fate, and it
yeah.
happened over and over again. So
Well,
it
well,
didn't we didn't have the juice to, like you said, it was very similar to what most of our games were like. What was disappointing and where the whole, like, -10 action went out the window is we came out flat. Again,
mhm.
we did our thing. Like, if we would have jumped out on them, this game would have been over quick. We let them in the game, we kept them alive, and we did not execute. Like, whenever it was time for that magic LSU has all season to come alive, we dropped passes. We had a holding call. We
And ran
decide
out of time.
Yeah, exactly. And
You
it's
know,
just like we were bound to get nipped by one of those.
100%. Like I said, this team could have easily been 6-6. Like we've fallen on the good side of Auburn and Arkansas and a lot of these games where they could easily be in the L column, and this team had gritted their way to a victory. I told you before we started the pod, very early on in that game, Malik Neighbors caught a short pass and did like the whole like, I'm gonna scream at the top of my lungs. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And then like a couple plays later, he caught another like 4-yard pass and did the same thing. And I was like, okay, we're trying to like fake juice here. Like he's trying to like
Yeah.
give this team a spark. Like this isn't great for us. Like we have to get it done now. And then when A Chain's just fucking forearm shivering BJ Ojolari to the ground, it's like, okay, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a
Yeah, and then
long
Moose
night, boys.
Muhammad, like, who the fuck is this kid? Like, what happened here? And can we just, like, not have Sage Ryan in cover? Like, he's in great coverage, but, like,
And
this
then just
cat's got
can't make the
0
play.
ball skills. Like,
Yeah,
and we thought he would be a punt returner? Like, the
it's
dude,
it's he looks small, and
he
so when he
is. He's
gets
like
beat,
5'8".
it's such a bad look. It's such a bad look when he gets beat.
Yeah, but, like, he's draped all over the people, like, he's there, but then you're like, "Yeah, well, he's also short, and he can't." reach, and like maybe that's the problem. I don't know, dude, but like incredible catch. Like Muhammad didn't just like, have a clear path to the ball. I mean, an incredible one-handed catch there. And then Achin running wild. So their stars showed up like we, talked about. They have talent, and of course they're going to turn it on against LSU. I just figured we were the better team and we were on a roll and we had figured out how to turn it on early, and that wasn't the case. And we were flat, and we had to, like you said, we fabricated juice. We were trying to I don't know, expound on 5-yard slants, not even slants, hitches. Like we had 2 pass plays over 15 yards. You can't compete like that, man. Like you can't beat teams like Booty had. What does Kayshawn have? 1 touchdown this year?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's just not going to do it. That's just not going to do it.
Yeah, no, someone we haven't talked about or mentioned yet tonight. I mean, John Emery probably had his best game as an LSU
He
Tiger
did.
and looked great. And this team, it's definitely hard to tell watching the TV broadcast a lot of the times, but this team has a very hard problem of pushing the ball down the field. Against Florida, we thought the light bulb had hit and everything had gone off, and like, here we go. And ever since then, it's just been a struggle
What
again
do you
of
think it is, dude? Like what? Why? He had plenty of time. I don't want to hear, oh, the O line got destroyed all night. Listen, like for most of the night, he had time. There was absolutely times where he was running out of the pocket, but his eyes were still down the field. He could still
yeah.
plant and hum it outside the pocket. He's got it's the same thing we saw earlier in the season. This hesitancy to throw a receiver open. He's waiting too long, but this has been all year. And then sometimes it'll happen. Sometime Booty finished with the same amount of catches that he had last year and 8 less touches. Yeah, incredible. And this is why. Like Jaden didn't have the confidence to rip it, but why? When you
I don't
did
know.
the week before, it's just the off and on, the yo-yo effect of
And it
inconsistency.
and it's just if Brian Kelly was going in his press conference every week and saying, "Oh, Nussmeier, oh, Walker Howard, like these guys are pushing for a spot, like Daniels has got to be," it becomes a little more understandable of like not wanting to make the big mistake and not wanting to throw picks or anything, but it's like everyone's just begging to let it loose, and I agree. It just like so I felt like the O line. I thought Emory Jones struggled
Yeah.
a little bit in the
Oh,
game,
for
but I
sure,
thought
for sure.
for the most part, I thought the offensive line held up pretty well. Obviously, we ran the ball decently well, but I don't know, man. It's just like he's hesitant to really just like let it loose, and I don't know. Something's got
Yeah,
to
it's
change.
tough. And take off the little scarf. I mean, I know you're from SoCal, but like it was like 60 degrees. We don't need to be bundled. Like you can't play like that and then just I don't know, dude. And
It's
Besh.
bad. It's a bad look when we yeah, Bash looks like he's gonna fucking rob the bank.
Yeah, like come on, man. Like you're never seeing the field. You barely get in and all we see is your eyes. What are you doing?
First catch of the game. I was
Like you need
hyped.
to
I thought it was
breathe,
the Jack
dude.
Bech game.
You need to breathe. But that just shows you, man, like we're not we
But
haven't
also,
utilized those weapons, man, and, like,
well,
that's what's scary is, like, how good could this team really be?
Brian Thomas catches a ball midpoint of that game. I don't really remember when, and I was like, "Oh shit, Brian Thomas is back. Here we go." And
Mhm.
it's like, "Oh man, I feel like we should be getting him the ball a little bit more." Dude, yeah, raw boner in the chat. Like Brian Kelly wearing the fucking gloves again. Like it's just you can't wear the gloves if you're gonna lose. Like we got to take them off. It's just the worst look in America.
Yeah, we need some fire. We needed some fire. We need to be on, like, we need to be on to a point where, like, we're walking out there shirtless. Like, we're not bundled up wearing fucking ski masks in 60-degree weather. Like,
We embrace the environment.
yeah, it's just we didn't have that swagoo. We didn't have that fire, and that's unfortunate. And I thought we had turned that corner of we got to motivate our guys. Like if it wasn't motivation enough that you get to beat the shit out of Texas A&M on your way to a possible playoff berth, I don't know what to tell you. And
Yeah.
I honestly think a lot of it had to do, like we talked about earlier, man. We just ran out of steam. I think this team has overachieved so much that I think they needed a break, and unfortunately, they thought that they could take a break against Texas
And
A&M,
still come home with a win and possibly
and
be in the
and
playoffs,
they
and
almost did, and they almost did. And I think once that scoop and score happened, though,
that was the game.
That was it. Like that, even though they just went up by a touchdown, it felt like they went up by like 40 points. It was like, I
Yeah.
don't think this is happening
Well, the
after
pass interference that was right before half, which sucks. LSU probably would have gotten points there, but
Tyron Lacey. Yeah.
you open up the half, 3 and out, get a touchdown, 3 and out, and then you're pretty much marching down. I mean, if we just hand the ball to Emery up the gut, he's getting at least into probably field goal territory on that run. Like he had plenty of room,
We
and
could
it's
have done
like
the same game plan that they did to us. We could have done the same exact we could have ran it right down their throat with Kane and Emery back and forth, maybe a couple pulls by Jaden if he reads it correctly, which he doesn't. Like it's just by blind luck. And if it hits, it's a game winner. It's great. But when it doesn't hit, it looks like a fucking sack of potatoes getting thrown out there. But go ahead, I cut you off.
I don't even know where. Oh, well, it's just like that game. The game was right there. I mean, 17-17. A&M was looking for a reason to just fucking go in their shell and have Jimbo's play calling suck them in again. And the scoop and score just changed everything. And
Yep.
LSU wasn't. Yeah, they didn't respond with a score there, right?
No.
Yeah, definitely not. And that was the game.
So
That
yep.
was the game. So
Yeah, that's what happens. And now you got to prepare for Georgia. You got to somehow shake back and say, how do we beat the number one team in the country and win the SEC championship? Amazing that we have an opportunity to play for it. I mean, that is incredible in itself. And I applaud this staff and this team for getting to this point. And I hope that they're competitive. I hope they bring the juice, they bring the fire. I think they will. I think they will. This is their final game. I doubt anyone of note is going to be playing in this bowl game. I mean, if we're really putting it out there, because we're not in a New Year's Six bowl anymore, it's going to be some bullshit bowl. Um, I don't know.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
Booty's not playing. You
Well,
can't.
that's a given,
Yeah,
but I don't know that he's everybody.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, Jaden's gonna play because he's gonna try to get some more film out there. I guess. I mean, it'd be
I mean,
kind of.
Jaden Daniels is coming back, right?
I mean, and now you have to, like, if you're him. I mean, I don't think he finished this year off like the way he wanted to and been like, okay, my stock's the highest it's ever going to be. I'm back. Now he's thinking, I got to bring my stock back up. Like that's it, right? Unless he's
This
just
is a bear market.
unless yeah, exactly. Unless Brian Kelly's just like, listen, champ, it's time to part ways. But
That's what I'm saying. Like, is there a conversation to be had?
Ah, the thing that scares me is like, what if Walker Howard isn't Walker Howard? Like,
Yeah, what if Walker Howard sucks? I think about it every day.
I mean, like, wouldn't he maybe be pushing for playing time right now if he was like this answer? I don't know, but he also asked to be redshirted, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to start. I don't want to start it because there's no right side to it.
No,
Because at
there's
the
not a right side. I
like
mean,
Jaden coming back is obviously like to be awesome. Like
it's very easy to sit here today and be on the Walker Howard train. Like, it's just
easily.
very
We need to
but
sleep on this conversation because, like, there's believe me, after watching the A&M game, after watching the Arkansas game, I would love nothing more than to see the redshirt freshman Walker Howard come in and start his reign and carry it over to his sophomore year and win a national championship. But if you look at some of these guys that returned for their senior year that weren't shit the year before, that actually turned it on and made some incredible runs this season. I mean, Hooker is one. I know he's a downfield passer and has nothing to do with Jaden Daniels. But the kid from Florida State, that kid's
yeah.
fucking awesome quarterback. He wasn't shit the past couple seasons. To think that Jaden Daniels will be the same or regress, I think it's not really based on anything. I think he's improved since he's been at LSU. I think he's gotten used to this team. There's some issues that he needs to fix. Would I be comfortable naming him the starting quarterback next year? Yeah, I'd ride with it. Would I ride with Walker Howard? Hell yes. Like it's it's a tough
Yeah.
decision right now, November 28th, 2022, to talk about who's starting against Florida State next year.
I know, but it's fun to talk about.
It is fun to talk about. And I don't know. I mean, like Jaden Daniels came to LSU not to win a championship.
Not to play school.
Jaden Daniels came to LSU to get a little more exposure, to show that he's fast and to maybe make a roster. So I think he probably accomplished that. I mean, like, but at the end of the day, like, what's his ceiling? Like, where does Jaden Daniels think he's going to go in the draft? Because he can't throw. So, I mean, like,
Well,
that's
if
the
we could
thing.
if we could play Florida every week, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like, he is who he is, though. I think the
Yeah.
team around him will continue to get better, and I think Jaden might be more comfortable with some of his outlets and eventually start throwing the ball better, but, like, he's not roping any dimes 40 yards, 50 yards down the field, like that like we said, they're punts. He can punt
Yeah.
well.
It's a fun off-season conversation to have, but luckily for us, LSU has one more game left on the schedule before the bowl game.
His feet are incredibly dynamic, and that's an area of the game that is so valued in modern college football. Like, he's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal runner. Um, but a lot of and he's tough. He's a very tough
Yeah.
runner too. But a lot of it is by chance and by just straight up athletic talent and not necessarily quarterback vision. And I think that's the easiest thing the way to put it. And an easy example is the fumble to end the regular season. It's like you give the ball there, Emery's busting it up the gut for who knows how much. He was
But
running great.
it was also just like, I don't know, it was just so soft too. It was like, why can't we just get tackled for like -3 yards there? Like,
Yeah, he
why is the
chicken winged
ball?
it. He chicken winged it, and he was just like, he looked like CJ Stroud.
It was just, I don't know, man.
How
It was
about
just
Michigan beating the shit out of Ohio State?
big
I think
brotherdom.
yeah, I mean, we're about 40 minutes into talking about us losing to Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think LSU can beat Georgia. Will they? Probably not. Hopefully,
Yeah,
they play with some
probably
heart.
not.
Hopefully,
Prob
Daniel's foot is fine. That's all I got
Can
on
we
that game.
just I mean, I guess this is the only time that we can kinda dream for a second. Can you imagine if we beat Georgia?
Yeah, it'd
Let's
be
soak
cool.
that in for a second. Let's take a moment of pause.
Get rewarded with 11 a.m. kick for the All-State Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, fucking awful. But SEC champions, like, year 1,
Yeah,
incredible.
it's just I think it'd be good for a lot of the players that stuck it out and went through the shitty years at LSU, and I think it just showed that Brian Kelly, like what he's doing, is moving in the right direction, and I think kids will see that. I know some commits have decommitted here today and yesterday or whenever it was, and it's like,
Deron Reed decommits defensive tackle. He goes to Auburn before they had a coach. Um,
what
you
a
know,
treat.
no sketchiness there. And then
But that's
Mickens,
fine. If that's
yeah,
if it like, that's fine. We'll figure someone else out for that spot. Like, if that's what you wanna do, if like, I want people who wanna be a part of this, not wanna be a part of the collective.
we have quite a bit of defensive line depth coming in. Unfortunately, not all of them are D tackles, so we do need to shore that up. But we'll get him. We're on a few other guys.
Luckily,
Um,
Wingo and Mason Smith will be back.
Mason Smith and Wingo
Roy?
will be back. Roy will probably not be back.
Okay,
I
I couldn't
I doubt
remember if
it.
he was Mason Smith's year. He's a year older,
He's
that's
a
right.
year older. But you get Guillory back, which is quality depth. It's unfortunate in my opinion, like the Langston kid. Um, is it Tyge Hill?
Yeah,
Like the fact that they don't get any rotation, like just shows you how far off they are. Uh,
worrisome.
yeah, that's worrisome. So I feel like you probably have to go portal again for D tackle to get
Yeah,
some depth. And then you load up with this recruiting class at D line, which I think we will. Darren Reed goes to Auburn. Mickens flips to Ohio State. I don't know. I think the kid lives like 40 minutes from campus. Like, it is what it is. He's going to go to Ohio State. And Darren Reed's the same way. The kid got paid fucking couple hundred bones to go to school 30 minutes from his house, whatever. Like,
I'm
this is
fine.
2022.
Yeah,
That's what happens. Hopefully we can pull that off with some of these guys like Derek Williams and shit. Um,
exactly. I'm just trying to scroll through the games. Obviously, Michigan, Ohio State, like,
no, but we're still on if we win.
oh, if
So
we win, yeah.
if we beat Georgia and win the SEC championship, it'll be, I mean, the stain that Texas A&M put on our ass, it'll be like taking a nice dude wipe and just cleaning it. Like,
It'll
that's what it'll
hurt.
be like.
It'll hurt a little bit more because forever, not only they'll just talk about, like, how they kept us out of the playoff. It's not
You're
even
right.
just
I
like,
didn't even wanna
"Oh,"
think about that, but
like, that's the extra part where it's like, in reality, like, you know, if LSU wins this game, maybe they don't win the next one, whatever, but, that's what sucks is forever they'll be like, "We ruined your playoff, oh," and it's just like, yeah, I don't and granted, like, if you can beat Georgia, you can beat anyone, but it's like part of me, there's a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of me that's a little relieved we're not gonna have to, like, have the world watch what we just, like, witnessed against
yeah.
A&M,
And
against
listen,
Michigan, and
the
having
way
Portnoy doing fucking selfie videos talking about how he's bigger and better and badder than the SEC, like, part of me
house,
is okay
house,
with it.
house,
Yeah,
house. That was
like, part of me is okay with it.
I listen, him going off on Big Av like that for the whole stream, I wish I can do that to my A&M
Grant.
brethren.
Oh,
And we're gonna start doing that. We're gonna do a little home and home, which I know we started doing, but I didn't keep up my end of the bargain here and go to A&M this year. But I want to be able to do it because we're gonna avenge this loss. Sorry,
Avenger,
avenger this
Captain
loss.
America,
Um, yeah, but
Thanos,
it would be pretty much it would be stunning, one, to beat Georgia, probably not gonna happen like we
Ratatouille.
talked about. But it also will kinda clear that shit stain of a loss to A&M in our eyes, and kinda finish the year off well. So,
But it
I
would
think
I
the kids have nothing to lose. The pressure's off of LSU now. So what does that mean for our guys? Does that mean, "Fuck, we have another week before we can kick it?" Or does that mean, like, "Let's win an SEC championship, like, we beat Bama."
yeah.
Like, you gotta think that some of those guys feel that way, and they wanna, like, look at last week and be like, "That's not us. That's not how we're gonna be remembered. Let's go do something fucking crazy, and let's beat the shit out of Stetson Bennett in Georgia." Like, who knows?
This team's done really well responding to losses all year. So, I think most of the guys are still bought in. Once again, probably after this game, I don't know, maybe before the game we might see a guy or two here and there put themselves in the portal and it's like that's fine. Like we'll weed out what we don't want and what who doesn't want to be here. And I don't know. I just keep looking at the foundation that's been built in this year one and like how it's gonna look in year three and in year four. And you kind of look at what he had going at Notre Dame, where it felt very it just reminded me a little bit of Penn State of like the we're the gatekeepers of this thing. I just always go back to like Maudie and those dudes like talking to ESPN about the Joe Pa stuff. And it's like it was a internal culture that like was the leading factor of that team. It wasn't, the coaches doing anything. It was like this player run thing. And I feel like that's what he had at Notre Dame. And I feel like that's kind of where we're going. And it's just fun to see.
Yeah, so with the way the SEC is, with the way college football is going, like, obviously, you can kinda get that flash in the pan season by a lot of these teams. We'll talk about it in a second here. Hugh Freeze going to Auburn. Like, a guy that can definitely put an offense together, right? A guy that can run a good offense. Um, who knows what he can do defensively? Lane Kiffin can do if he's got the NIL backing, he's good with the kids. He can run a good offense.
Hoodie
Um,
game out of control.
yeah, Jimbo Fisher, NIL game out of control, awful on the field coach. Brian Kelly has an edge over all those guys when it comes to like program development and stability and a culture and actually having like this is how we do things and this is how you're going to do it. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. Like
Mhm.
immediately. Like, and I don't think any of those other guys I just named would ever attempt that. It's just let's get a fucking flashy offense. Let's score points, points, points. And maybe one of these years it's enough to win a national championship, and it probably will be, right? I don't know about
Mhm.
it all miss, but eventually it will be. Um, JD5 needs to win the job next offseason or get beat out. Great point. We're going back to that. We're going to go back to this
Yeah.
in a second. But my point is Brian Kelly has an edge on that because he really is trying to build a sustained program with a blueprint that can be a revolving door of coordinators, can be a revolving door of staff members if they have that NIL backing in that recruiting base, which we do have, we're in a good spot, man. Like that's the thing. And I know it's tough to see right now after this loss. But this is the least talented squad you're going to see Brian Kelly field. And
Yeah.
if it's not 5-star for 5-star talented, it's going to be guys that are experienced and guys that are going to catch those passes that you need late in the game when the game's on the line. Like we're going to have those guys.
I just yeah, after watching what he's been able to do, it just I feel like we're gonna do what Georgia has done since Kirby Smart got there. It's
Yeah,
like
that's a good comparison. I mean, Kirby has both. Kirby's got like the structure, the blueprint, and a massive NIL.
yeah, well, it's just, he's like the Saban guy that came in and implemented the same systems of like the process, and we're gonna do things our way. And it's like, yeah, year one, year two, you lose to a South Carolina, you get everyone laughs at you, makes fun of you for a little bit, and it's like, oh, same old Georgia. And then all of a sudden, once it's like, hey, once we get our full guys in here and our process is really like taken, we're just going to be unstoppable. And I think that's obviously your ceiling with LSU with Brian Kelly.
Unless
I
that
just,
Orgeron runs out of the tunnel, and then Kirby's not going to win.
yeah, exactly. Can we bring Ed back for one last game? Kirby's kryptonite, but
Kirby
I,
would
I
shit his
I don't
pants.
know. That's just kind of how I feel. It's just like once taking like widening out and taking a view of like, guys, this is year one. Everyone, remember what happened last year. Remember that we didn't really know who was going to be playing at 20 positions. And to be here, it's like, yeah, we're going to be fine. Like, we may lose the next 3 games and it may suck. And it's like, we may have to listen to people making fun of us all the way up until Florida State. But it's like, just trust the process and we're going to be fine.
Lamar Stevens comes in the chat. So you guys are kind of trickling in about 46 minutes into this. So make sure you
Always.
guys rewind and watch from the beginning because we talked a lot about Texas A&M, if you can imagine. But JD5 needs to win the job next season or get beat out. That's the thing, man. When it comes to the discussion of Jaden Daniels verse, I think that's why our transfers out
I
because
know,
I
I do think I do feel bad, though. I
the
do
Nuss
feel bad that we're
situation.
all just, like, completely, assured that that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be Howard and JD. I think Jaden Daniels needs to have pressure though to be successful. And that's the thing is I think Jaden can improve. And I think Jaden can be a great quarterback for us if he comes back. Only if Walker Howard is on his ass and does have a chance to take over. Because if he does have a chance to take over, I think you're either gonna see Jaden shit or get off the pot, right? You're gonna have to pull the trigger. That's all that's missing from Jaden. Like his eyes are down the field, he's got plenty of time. Let it rip. That whole O line's coming back, pal. Like
Yeah.
it's not getting any better. Like your O line is great. Like you don't expect it to be like any better than it is because it's great right now
Mhm.
and it's going to be there for the next 3 years. Let it rip. If you don't let it rip, Walker Howard is taking your job. Now, if we go into this next season and Brian Kelly just kind of guarantees the job to JD5, it's going to suck. He's not going to progress. And I think you're still going to see that kind of complacent. Jared Addison says, "Are you serious? Just went off." I don't know.
I I
Is
think
that
he
in
means
relation
that's
to
why
us?
I think he means that's why people are in here now.
Oh, it just went off. Okay, got it. Thank for everybody that's are
Thought
we
he was just like,
conflicting with Blake Ruffino? Like, do we have conflicting time slots?
I think they normally go 7, and we started early tonight.
Oh, fuck. I didn't even know that. All right, cool. Well, thanks for
I just
joining us,
kinda wanted to
boys.
play some Xbox tonight, that's why we started a few minutes early.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
boys.
yeah. I am gonna kind of call it early tonight, but yeah, go back and listen from the beginning. But yeah, JD5, man, if he's got pressure, if he's got competition from Walker, I do think that he can excel. But by no means does this need to be a Jaden walks in next season and immediately gets the gig. I think Walker deserves a shot. I think he absolutely is somebody that has a rifle. He's somebody that has been getting better. From all reports, this kid's not just like eating popcorn during practice and hanging out and taking a red shirt. Like he is competing and he's working and he's getting reps. And I
I
feel like
do
all
like
offseason he's going to improve.
Yeah, I do like every time there's like a LSU Gold, haven't been able to see the last couple episodes, but every time there's an LSU Gold episode, and Brian Kelly speaking, like, if you just look in the front row, Walker Howard's big eyes are just, like, all in,
Yeah,
like,
he's awesome.
soaking it all in, like, he's the starting quarterback, and, like, he's about to catch the game ball, and it's just like, "Man, I really want this dude to be good," and it's, Nussmeier's in there too, and it's like, whatever, good luck to everyone,
He's
but
a camera hog too. Have you noticed, like,
oh,
wherever
yeah.
anybody that has any type of drama on the field, when they go to the sideline, like, Walker's right there,
Yeah,
and
he's
he's kinda just
checking
like,
in on
"What
his boys.
happened, huh?" Like,
Yeah, the big
he's like,
guy, Baba
"Just wait
Ganoush.
till next year." Like, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. I'm not picking a side right now. Don't back me in that corner, Lamar. Don't back me in that corner.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I think you just want open competition. I don't think Walker Howard would be a dude that leaves, and not saying you get held hostage by a quarterback, but it puts you in a weird situation of like, well, Daniels is now not the starter. What is he gonna do? And I don't know.
Well, I mean, you
It's
gotta you gotta also think about some of these wide receivers. Like, do you think Brian Thomas is gonna go up to Brian Kelly and be like, "Hey,
like
bud,
super stoked about what happened this year.
I just saw my boy Kayshawn catch one touchdown pass. Like, I need to eat. I need to go pro. Like, I'm a dog. Are we going to pass the ball down the field? Are we going to utilize my talents? If so, he needs to sling it. Somebody needs to sling it. We've got Walker
Yeah.
Howard on the sideline, which is
Well,
touted as a gunslinger. He can
and
sling it down the field.
we're not in the luxurious position of just being able to hand the ball off. Like, we have to be able to throw the ball and have to be able to push the ball down the field to be able to score. We don't have a top 4 back in the country that we can just flip it to and toss dive and see where it takes us.
Yeah, if we had
So,
an A chain and they stacked the box, like, it's a different story. Then Jaden Daniels can throw his punts out there and we actually can make our guys play. But whenever they're dropping back or whenever they're loading that box and coming with pressure all the time, knowing you can't push it down the field, it sucks. But again, we go back to it, man. Like, our receivers also, when we do have the opportunity, when Jaden does fire off a good one, got to come down with the ball.
mhm.
You got to make the catch. There have been many times this season where the receivers have not held up their end of the bargain. By no means am I saying that it's the receiver's fault.
No, you
Um,
are.
no, he's not throwing them open.
Disgusting.
That's just how it is. That's how it's been all season. Every now and then, every couple games here or there, he'll do it. But for whatever reason, like we talked about, I don't know what it is. There's this gun shy hesitancy that creeps back in on some of these games, and it's like he can't get over it. There's
Yeah.
no like mid game like, oh my bad, I'm just going to start trusting.
Well, and it's like
Maybe this is it.
if we make one mistake, it's like, well, you're not gonna fool me twice. Like, I am not gonna do anything silly again. It's like, no, we kind of need you to do some silly things.
Maybe the silly things happen against Georgia in a dome. Maybe it's just like, hey, Jaden, we're not expected to win this game.
Yeah.
Throw a pick, buddy. Like, launch it.
Just
Let's see if our
let him
guys can
go.
do it. Like, if it's a 50-50 ball, trust your guys. If they come down with it, great for them.
Yeah.
They're going to go on to the national championship. It is what it is. But guess what? Maybe, just maybe, Kayshawn will come down with that ball for you. Brian
Yeah.
Thomas will come down for that ball for you.
Hey, stats in championship games don't count. So don't worry about having like 7 interceptions.
Jared pops back in the chat. He says it surprises the receivers when the ball hits them too perfect. That's why they're dropping it. Yeah, I mean, it's a good joke, but it's sad because it's true. It's I don't know. Maybe they don't expect it.
Yeah, it's just been unfortunate. I can see how you can kind of mentally check out when you just run routes all day and know it's not coming to you, and then one finally comes to you, and that's once again, it's not an excuse. I said on this podcast many times that this was the best wide receivers group in the country. Well, obviously that's incorrect.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, it's there. I think pound for pound, talent-wise, these guys are there. I think a lot of it has to do with their confidence. They're not confident in the guy throwing the football to them. They're sprinting their ass off every single play. These guys are blocking like animals, by the way. Like
Yeah,
they are really physical receivers. But separation, you can't really see it unless we get the end zone copy.
yeah,
We're kind of taking the word from everybody that's in the games and sitting in the stadium that these kids are wide open all the time. You got to come down with the ball whenever it hits you in the hands. But we've seen them improve on that. But Kyron Lacy, coming in the game. Typically a pretty sure-handed kid. Earlier in the year, he looked very, very energetic.
I've been
Uh,
wanting him to get more opportunities all year because he was a guy that it felt like you get him the ball and he's gonna get excited and get some dudes hyped up. And I agree.
but
And he
rotate
just
him out, right? Like you drop that pass, like, sorry, man. It's time to let's see if Besh can redeem himself. And like I know he fumbled earlier.
it just feels like we draw up plays for the weirdest fucking people, you know? And it's like,
Yeah.
why don't we the dude who we thought could possibly like maybe win a Heisman or at least a Bolitnikoff, like let's draw one up for him tonight. It's just it's very strange to me.
Yeah. Can we do something with Booty instead of a reverse to get the ball in his hands? That's
No.
it. That's all we can do. So it's sad.
And that's the
It
thing, it's like part of me wants to say that Daniels isn't ripping it, and like you said, not being able to see some end zone and some, like, all 22 types, it's hard to be able to see, but it also feels like Denbrock doesn't, like, scheme up many things for players. It's just like, "Yeah, we're gonna run this play, try to find the open guy." And who knows? I could
Yeah,
be
we don't know,
completely
and that's
wrong.
that's the thing is there's been I don't know, dude, like, we move the ball. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and that's the crazy part, like, we score, we move the ball. We actually have, in my opinion, good game plans. Um, I it's you can go back and forth. You can make an argument that, "Nope, Jaden just doesn't see the field and doesn't let it rip." If he lets it rip, Denbrock's a genius, and he's got everybody dialed up. When he doesn't let it rip, it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Why
Yeah.
can't we adjust? That's the thing is like
Well,
we've seen the other side of the ball. We've seen Matt House, other than against A&M, adjust and really flourish with putting the right personnel in the right areas. Offensively, if it's not clicking, it's just it's done. That's it. It's there's no changing who we are mid game.
yeah. And this game was decided on 3rd down. LSU was shitty on 3rd down, and A&M had 3rd and short all night, and
Third
even
and
when they
shorts all
had
night.
3rd and long, they got it easily. They
And
played the game
that's
of
the
their life.
difference. They took our best player out of the game because there was no reason to pass the ball on third down.
Yeah.
And when they had to, it looked like Harold Perkins was going to kill somebody when he
And they
tackled
just yeah, they just came up with everything. Muhammad made some nasty catches. A-Chain broke as many tackles as he could. I mean, we took their best punch and weren't able to get off the mat. And like we said earlier, man, it was a lack of juice, a lack of energy, a team that just ran out of gas.
Kyle says thoughts on Matt House possibly getting poached. Good. Take that piece of shit. No,
Fuck
I'm kidding.
Matt.
I'm kidding. If he gets poached, he gets poached. I think we
Good for
find a good
him.
replacement. I think
Would he
he's
take the Cincinnati job? Would Cincinnati offer him the job?
I think it's too early for Matt House to get a big job. I think he's a really good DC, but I think right now he's still in the whole like I'm a really good DC, and
I'd
I
be
think
very surprised if Matt House wasn't LSU's defensive coordinator next year. I don't
yes,
think we're gonna have a ton of coaching turnover. I just don't.
yeah. And if he gets poached, that means obviously he's been a hell of a guy for us, and he a job
Yeah.
well done. I don't think he's going to leave.
Should get a raise.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a good henchman.
I
He's
think
a good
everyone
hand
else
to the
should just
king.
maybe get some, like, cost of living, a little inflation bump, but Polian, a little 200K bump for the boys.
Lamar says, "Nah, dude, I'm in Japan. I just got out of a meeting. I come here first." That's great. We appreciate that. We need to post that one.
I've been in
We
Japan too, so, didn't cross paths.
Oculus? Um, so let's recap a little bit of the weekend. Wild weekend. Wild weekend. Upsetting finish to the day, obviously. But Michigan putting it on Ohio State.
I hate that the game's on so early. Like, that game just it's just disgusting that it's a noon Eastern 11 kick.
Yeah, but I mean that's the Big Ten.
I know.
That's the big, dude. Like they have to have a little bit of that.
I was
We're
also
gonna be
expecting
different.
weather. I thought the weather, like I felt like early in the
You wanted
week,
snow?
yeah, I like to see some elements in my Ohio State Michigan game.
It's true. I love the point you brought up about all it took was Jim Harbaugh taking a pay cut. Like, don't fire me. I'll just stay here for pennies. Not pennies. Dude's
It
making
was
millions, but
casual 5 mil.
yeah, just a casual 5 mil relative to the rest of the coaching carousel in America. That's pennies. But the fact that that happened after everyone tried to run him off, and now he's back to back playoff
He almost
appearances.
went to the NFL also.
Hmm.
It's just I don't know. Yeah, it is
Fire
wild.
Ryan Day. That's a
It's
big
yeah.
dude. That's a big like. For Ohio
That's
State,
why
people 2
that's
years in a
why
row.
that's why when you're fucking Ohio State, when you're fucking LSU, you don't promote a coordinator. When you're Alabama, you don't promote a coordinator. Like, I get Ryan Day was gonna be this, like, great coach, whatever, like, he's the next one, but when you're one of those handful of schools, that's the school, you go get an Urban Meyer, you go get a Lane Kiff, like, you just go get a coach. I don't know,
Ohio
maybe
State
Ryan Day's still good, but I don't
Oh,
know.
Ohio State just looked like they were just a bunch of robots pieced together, like five-star robots, the best players at all their positions, and just going through the motions. And if things didn't work, there was no fire to like overcome any adversity. Where on the other side of the coin, you got these Jim Harbaugh 2% milk drinkers just like just ready to kill. And in this type of game, in those rivalry games, like that's what you need to win. Like everyone's going to rise to the occasion. But Ohio State just looked like they were just happy to be there. And it's like, guys, no, like this is a team pieced together. CJ Stroud looked phenomenal all season long, dropping dimes, great quarterback. But when the game's on the line, he's just kind of, I don't know, he's mediocre. Like they just
Yeah,
look mid.
it's just very weird. Like when it's not clicking for them, they just look like the most, like you said, the most average team. It's like you could throw Indiana jerseys on them and you'd be like, yeah, they're okay. They can get it going every now and then. It's just very strange. And Michigan just kind of ran in there and ran it down their throats and threw it on them whenever they wanted to. I mean,
Another
obviously,
team that's going old school. Another team, like you talked about offensively, that's like, hey guys, if you want to have all these dime packages and that's how you're going to recruit your entire defensive roster, well,
good
guess what?
luck.
We're going to toss another tight end in here. We're going to have a fucking fullback again, and we're gonna run some dives, and you're
Yeah.
gonna, we're gonna milk that clock. We're gonna get a couple stops on defense, and you're never gonna get the ball again. I mean, like that's just the way they're winning these games now.
I'm gonna put 3 tight ends on the field, and there's nothing you have that can stop it. I know.
Right, and then Georgia does it, and it's like, unfortunately, their tight ends are also like Randy Moss, so
Yeah. They're somehow, Eric Gilbert, somehow their 4th, like, best tight end.
if he's still even around. I don't
Yeah, I
Is he
think I
still
think
there?
he's I think he is.
That's
I think he's
hilarious.
lingerer. If we still had the soundboard, that'd be a perfect lingerer button.
Gilbert's a lingerer.
Um,
What else
what I
happened?
was gonna say about, a Jimbo is, like, this could end up being the perfect storm, like, of Jimbo just being like, "See, guys, I told you, we just had to execute a little better. There's nothing else we need to
Well, that's
do.
the only glimmer of
I will
hope
be
here.
the OC next year. I am the OC. I
Well,
will always be the OC."
they fired their guy today, so they're gonna attempt to bring in a new one. The first thing they do this offseason is cut the
What if
OC.
he brings Les in as, like, passing game coordinator? He's like,
That
"Les,
that makes
do
sense.
nothing. You do you." And he's like, "I exactly know what you're talking about, coach."
But, like, the fact that Jimbo fired his OC today, like, the first day after the season that he can fire somebody, he fires his offensive coordinator, which he calls the plays. Like,
Yeah.
he is the OC.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
yeah.
just shows you that, like, he doesn't get it still. He still
That is
doesn't get it.
also fucked up. Like, you coulda at least let my guy, like, enjoy the pizza party today for beating LSU. Like, give him a day.
Yeah, no, he had to ride that wave and be like, "I'm making changes. I'm cutting him. I'm hiring a new OC." Um,
I
you
will
know,
not give up play calling
it
duties.
might be Billy Gonzalez. We don't know.
Billy, I
Uh,
miss Billy G.
no, but that's the
Um,
only glimmer of hope that comes out of this is that we save Jimbo's job and he comes back next year and this happens all over again. And that'd be hysterical.
Auburn has their guy.
Hugh Freeze signs a contract with Auburn, a modest $9 million deal. Um,
Oh,
you know,
there is a bunch of coaches to talk about. There's Matt Rule to Nebraska. There's
great hire,
Wisconsin,
great hire.
Fickle.
They're all good hires there. Odd hires, odd landing spots. If you were to, if you, it was almost like they were playing roulette. Like
It's
just it,
such a risky move for Rule. I want to go back to Auburn, obviously Auburn SEC, but like Rule. it's just like if you're just like everyone else who can't turn around Nebraska or get fired for only being able to win 8 games, you're
Yeah,
just
you're
like a
done.
stinky coach now. Like, you're
Yeah,
the guy who got paid too much and got fired everywhere he's been now.
it is
Fair enough.
interesting. Matt Rule, he does really well at Baylor, rides that high at Baylor, goes to the Panthers, poaches Brady from LSU. Just really puts together what looks like a dream squad, and he just falters in the pros. But I
Like a lot do.
like a lot too. He's definitely a college coach. I didn't like the move to begin with. That was kind of strange. Um, I think he's a program builder. He's somebody that really does it the right way, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of Matt Rule. I just Nebraska has so many limitations. Like riding that,
It feels like he had a better job.
yeah, and same to be said with Luke Fickell.
Wisconsin's a better job than Nebraska.
It is a better job right now than Nebraska, but it's still like not where I thought Fickell would land. I
No, I
thought,
know, but, like, I thought Rule going to Wisconsin would be like a, white arm, black arm, like, interlocking, like, well, good fit.
yeah, no, I agree. But look, I think what Nebraska needs. Like with Frost, it was another one of those like, "Hey, I'm an OC, I'm gonna score points." But guess what, buddy? If you don't got the 5 stars to score those points, if you don't have those streaky wide receivers and those great quarterbacks, like, it's not gonna happen. You gotta build something, and I think Matt Rule can build something at Nebraska. It's just not gonna be immediate. Like, that's the thing. Is Nebraska gonna give Matt Rule the time to build something there? Because
Right.
like, that's the only way Nebraska is gonna win games.
Well, in 2 years when Nebraska's lost 8 games, and it's like, are we still cool? Do we still all love Matt Rule?
Right, we'll
Eh
see. Now Fickle goes to Wisconsin, which that's a good spot. I mean, like in hindsight, it's good. I think Wisconsin looks like a solid spot for him, but leading up to it, I mean, this is a guy that quote unquote turned down plenty of jobs.
yeah.
Was in the running maybe for the Notre Dame gig. I don't know. Like there was a lot of
It's
stuff
why you
going.
take jobs. It's why you take the jobs when they're available. It's
Oh
why I
yeah,
thought Lane was going to Auburn,
jump on
because
the
you take them.
opportunities.
Because if not, the next thing you know, there's less jobs.
Yeah, and like we discussed before, I think the Lane angle is definitely to hang out until Saban wants to pass the torch, and he's going to be the next Bama guy.
Or Texas fire Sark, and they're coming into the SEC.
Yeah, I mean Saban Kiffin will always be a hot name because he has a built-in excuse. He's at Ole Miss, so like for him to not win or go to the playoffs, it's like, yeah, well, he's at Ole Miss. He's got to, it's not going to work out for him there, regardless of how good he is. But guess what? He'll compete in the West. He'll go to the Sugar Bowl, yada, 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 and he'll always be a name. I think it's kind of a smart move by him if he is lining that up for the Bama gig or the Texas gig, like you mentioned. Auburn hiring Hugh Freeze, in my opinion, is a stellar move by them. I get it. He fucked around with escorts. Now, if you are a fan of
Who
White
hasn't,
Lotus,
Michael? Who hasn't?
if you're a fan of White Lotus, there is one escort in this world that every guy could probably fall for, and that's Lucia. She's phenomenal. She's a phenomenal gal. Keep her away from Auburn, Alabama. That's for sure.
It's just it is funny, and there was just no better, like, Auburn moment of when it was like the tweets came out where it's like Lane turned them down. They got some backlash whenever they thought it was gonna be Freeze. They don't really have a third option. I'm just like, I'm just sitting down. Like, Auburn hadn't had a coach for fucking 2 months, and this is the spot they're in. Like, it was just so perfectly Auburn.
Um, Paul Feinbaum going back and forth with Lane. Pretty funny. He comes back with Lane's full of shit and he's a piece of shit. It's like, wait. Like you guys have just been doing this little banter stuff and now you're like really like cussing him out and shit. Like, do you expect him ever to be back on your show? It's just kind of a weird little relationship there with Paul Feinbaum.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah. He tweeted out today that his excuse about not he didn't want to disrupt the team's flow by letting him know he's staying or something, like not coming out and squashing it. And he called it he's full of shit, and that's who he is. He's a piece of shit. It's like, all right, Paul, like whatever, dude.
But yeah, I mean, Hugh Freeze at Auburn, you have to think there's a decent chance that Hugh Freeze will be able to get Auburn more competitive. But
For sure.
will
It'll
that
and I think it'll happen quick. I think that will happen
when will
quick.
that fan base turn though? Because they're coming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Auburn's got a nice little collective going. I think that's why you see a couple of these guys flipping from schools. They're going to put together some good recruits. I think Auburn's going to be competitive with Hugh Freeze. It's a good fit. Obviously, he was hired because he beat Nick Saban twice. Like, period. End of discussion. So he'll put it together. Will he go undefeated? Will he be dominant? I don't know. A lot of stuff changes. People ride the momentum highs in the coaching world, and just because he was excellent at Ole Miss doesn't mean he's going to be excellent at Auburn. But I do think they're going to be a lot better than they were with Harsin, and I think that he will take it a step above what Gus was doing. So. Good to see because I want that game to be competitive. It sucks to watch an Iron Bowl knowing that like there's really no shot here. And the only fun part about it was knowing that it's probably Bryce Young's last game, unless they somehow sneak in the playoffs, which I don't even want to think about right now. So let's
It's
just.
all like it's fun. It's fun to make fun of Auburn, but like having a competitive Auburn in the SEC is fun. I like when that game means a lot. It really sucks when LSU loses that game, but I really enjoy playing at Auburn and having Auburn play at LSU. And so
Other teams on the rise. USC is
what
making a
a
name right now. Lincoln
yeah,
Riley is on.
what a wild cast of characters the SEC has.
Yeah, they do. They have a very wild cast of characters. But out west with Lincoln Riley and USC, I do think that that is a little bit of a monster that is going to start waking up here. And you're not going to see DJ Uungale go to Clemson or CJ Stroud go to Ohio
To
State or Bryce
Bryce
Young
Young,
to like I want that to happen. I want
Manti
those kids.
Te'o,
Yeah, I want the Monte Teos of the world to go back to USC. Not to
Ray
make them
Balaluga.
not to make them dominant, but just to keep them out of our conference,
Yeah.
have a little bit of competition now.
Well,
Um,
speaking of USC, let's fly on over to the East Coast USC. Take down Clemson.
wild, wild.
First home game I think that the Clemson seniors had lost.
Tennessee, then Clemson, back-to-back weeks. What a 2-week stretch for Beamer.
They got blanked by Florida the week before.
Baby Beamer and that dude, that offense was sick. Like, out of nowhere, that offense was scoring at will against both of those teams.
Like Johnny Manziel like scoring at will, like making it look silly.
Mhm. Yeah, it was fun to watch, good for them. It's always fun to kinda watch those games and pull for a team that you know you're not really threatened by, especially in recruiting.
Yeah.
Just kinda pull off those upsets. Good for Beamer. I like the guy. I think he's fun to watch.
There was a couple, as we've grown up and watched SEC football, there's been one or two, maybe three times where South Carolina has turned up and been a good team. And I don't know. I think it's fun when South Carolina can beat some teams. Like it would be nice to have the East not just be run by Georgia for the next decade.
Yeah, and listen, I know Tennessee beat the shit out of us, but it was nice to see Tennessee go on a run this year, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. Like, it was good to see a little bit of a different shade of orange, be involved in the conversation this year, and beat Alabama. It honestly, at the end of the day, as an LSU fan, me personally, anybody that can beat Alabama and make their season a little bit more competitive. I mean, these guys are born on third base, right? Like, it's nice to have them have to tag up every now and
I don't know. The podcast may end. I don't know that I could watch college football anymore if this Alabama and this Nick Saban team sneak into the playoffs and win a national championship.
then. Yeah, I feel like every time that happens, I'm just like, I'm done with this.
It would
I'm
be the
done
most
with this.
brutal
And then
thing
I'm back
ever.
again. But it's like, yeah, it would be. And
And to have to hear their fans be like, "Our worst team in 15 years," and it would just shoot me. I thought they were gonna be in the fucking Gator Bowl, like, 2 weeks ago, and now they're, like, sitting in a pretty decently legit spot, obviously need some help, but it's
I
heartbreaking. It's
I don't want to
heartbreaking.
think about it yet because I
Imagine
still
them playing Michigan 1 versus 4, and it's like, "Oh, Michigan's gonna be Michigan." It's like, "No, we're fucking Alabama." And then you got a coin flip against probably, I don't know, Georgia or TCU, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so
Nightmare,
obviously
nightmare.
Michigan and Georgia are in. That's they're the staples. No matter what happens, Michigan and Georgia are in. Uh, TCU has to beat who? Kansas State?
I I guess. Like, if Michigan gets fucking run by Purdue,
They're not. They're not. I don't think they are. I don't think they are. Uh, uh,
I agree with you. Like, in scenarios, more likely than not, Michigan's in there. But it's like,
and I think Ohio State sneaks back in if there's chaos.
I
I
mean,
think
that's what
that's
I hope. Like, obviously, me would so much rather Day's fucking stupid ass getting into the dance than Bama. But I don't know. I don't
it'll be an
know.
interesting situation for the media darlings. Like, what media darling is gonna get the blowjob? Is it
Reese is
gonna
gonna
be
Alabama shirt, just
oh,
rip it
yeah.
off.
Oh god. It would be unbearable. It'd be one of those deals where, like, you're not gonna be able to watch it. I'm not gonna be able to watch it.
It feels like one of, like, TCU or USC is gonna lose on Saturday and open up the discussion, the debate for this Ohio State Bama, like, who deserves to be in.
Jay Addison comes back in and says, "I can't wait for LSU to go to USC. It looks like a fun away game." It does. I think that is gonna be fun. That's not next year, but the next,
Well,
I believe.
just so everyone's clear, it's an away game in Las Vegas. It's
God
not at
damn it.
USC.
Damn it. I forgot about that.
I'm, like,
But,
99% sure that's correct.
eh, at the end of the day, it's probably the same.
Oh, yeah, no, it'd be
The West is
sick.
the West, you know what I'm saying? Like, going to USC would be sick, but at the same time, going out to Vegas, that's basically like traveling to USC.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. It would really suck to go to the Vegas game, lose all your money, degenerately gamble, do what did the debauchery, and watch LSU get their ass kicked and go home, like, mega poor. Like, what a nightmare.
It would be a nightmare, but what a phenomenal time if it flipped. If it was the other way around, you go to Vegas, have a fucking
Win a
blast,
couple parlays,
win
get a
some
hot
parlays.
craps
Oh
table,
yeah.
little me, little you, little you, little me, little
Go
me,
to the
little you.
game, watch a 2-year starter, Walker Howard and the boys fucking take it to Lincoln Riley, like start off the season right, ranked number 1. Like it'd be
Will
sick.
Campbell's at tight end because he's so athletic.
Yeah, yeah. Mason Taylor moves to tackle. Like you
He
never
was talking about South Carolina. He was talking
My
about South
bad, my
Carolina. That's
bad,
fair.
my bad.
I had
Well,
USC.
let's talk USC. USC's in a couple seasons. So
Yeah, I
there's
don't
that.
know. Like, I don't know exactly how the SEC like scheduling is working and when everything's gonna change with teams coming in. I just want to see a bunch of different games. Like, I know Hurricane like kind of threw some stuff off and mixed it in there, but it's like I couldn't even tell you the last time we played at South Carolina. Like, we should be able that game should happen more often.
I'm sure somebody will tell us. Jared will probably let us know pretty quickly in here
He's
when's the last time.
typing.
When's the last time we played in South Carolina? Was it the Geis here? Was it that far? When we wore like all whites? I'm going to Vegas, but I want to go to South Carolina.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. You hiring? Like, what the fuck? I want to go to these games.
Yeah, yeah. We have a location in Vegas. I will be visiting one of our locations that weekend for sure. So,
Oh yeah.
you wanna tag?
We also have a podcast studio and a hotel in Vegas.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We need to start plugging in Blue Wire now. I mean, if we can keep this going every week for the next 2 years.
Obviously, they don't listen because we haven't been dropped yet. And like, guys, fast forward through all the commercials. We don't fucking care. Like, hit that 30-second skip and
Is this
just
how we get fired?
yeah, that's
Is
fine.
this last week of the season?
I would have it's shocking that we made it this far. So, yeah,
But
2008
Blue Wire does have 8. I thought we
'cause
played South Carolina, like, with Geis and all them, at South Carolina.
I
I
thought they
remember
had to,
him.
like, move that game for Hurricane. Is that a different one? We do not need to
We'll figure it out.
Chip's not in the live chat or he'd be firing away right now.
He'll let me know. He'll text me tonight. He'll
Wall
text
of
me at, like,
text.
midnight. Yeah, no, and by the way, it was an accident, the LSU Gold situation,
Oh, we're
and we
back?
should be back in business. I haven't logged back in, but we're
Woo!
getting back in business. It was,
Shout out to our guy with the password.
yeah, it was a mistake, but we're getting it fixed. Not that I wanna watch this week's, but
I think I do. I think you take the good and the bad, and you see the leadership throughout.
Yeah, you're right. I bet it's really well done. It's probably just like, "Oh, wow, they didn't take it as hard as I thought. Like, we're
I
gonna
I
beat
will
Georgia now."
say I will say I did feel like, I feel like the media gave them some softballs today. Like, we didn't really hammer in anything about, like, "Hey, y'all guys got your ass kicked by, like, a really shitty team." Everyone's just like, "Oh, would you like to give any superlatives to the coaching staff?" It's like, fuck.
I think they're vetted. I think those guys at this point in the season are just like, "If you fucking bring up last week, you're dead. Like, you're
Yeah,
dead.
and, like,
You're dead,
whatever.
Leah."
Like, I feel like I've taken this loss better than most of the fan base, especially if you refresh Tiger droppings, but I don't know. It was just a little frustrating.
Yeah, it's Tiger Droppings was a little bit of a cesspool that night, and I didn't wanna look at it during the game because that's what that makes it's almost like a bad luck omen. Oh, by the way, the Buckeyes are done.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
my
mean, you got a good run out of them. I'll
I
give you that.
did. I at one point, I looked like a chipmunk holding them. I was just like, "I don't know how many more I can hold. I don't know how many good luck Buckeyes I can hold." For those that don't know, Gilmer Buckeyes are very rare to find, and I found a tree of them when I was at my in-laws' house, and all season, they've been good luck for me.
Well, yeah, like 2
Um
weeks before Bama, Mike's like, "Dude, I found these lucky buck nuts. I took them all." And, like, everything's just come up Mike the last, like, month and a half. Literally, just everything's just come up Mike, and,
I
I
lost
think finally
every bet since Wednesday. I bet every single day, multiple games, multiple games. I lost
thank
all of
there's, and you may have done this because you're teetering on that, like, early degeneracy, but Thanksgiving can be tough because you can just bet endlessly. Like, NBA is going, college basketball is like there's nothing better than betting early college basketball tournaments. Football on wall to wall, you're like, "Well, I mean, fuck it. It's Thanksgiving. Why not?" And it can just go so bad for Thanksgiving. Leading into a short week, like, it's a nightmare.
Thanksgiving games, NFL, I got fucked. And like my one glimmer of hope was like, that's okay. My lock of the week, I had two of them. I had
LSU -10.
LSU was going
Lock.
to take care of business. That wasn't even a worry to me. That was just like my reserve lock on Saturday. Friday, I was going to get my money back with Florida State. Didn't work. And then like, of course, naturally, I cleared it out, dude. I had to withdraw. I had to like get my money out while I could, while I was still there, and I held on to a
Sounds like you got money on crypto exchange. Gotta get it off. Gotta get
yeah,
it
get it
off.
off. No, no, that's still in there. That's still in there. I believe there's a rebound.
No, no,
You've
no, just not on the exchange. You have it on the
no,
hardware
no,
wallet,
no,
right?
no, no. I have it on a drive.
That's my man.
What are they called? Ledgers. I got it
Ledger.
on a
Yeah, let's
ledger.
not talk about it anymore. Too many
Anyway,
people in there.
way too much money on that ledger, which it's somewhere in my drawer. No, I'm kidding. You'll never know where it is. You'll never know the passwords. You'll never find out. But no, I pulled all my money out because I'm like, if I'm going to Atlanta, this is how I'm paying for it. Is from betting this season, and I'm going to pay for all of it with this. And it started like trickling down my entire Thanksgiving break. I'm like, you know what? Get the fuck out of here while I can. I got out while I could. I saved a measly $30, and I said, I'm putting $30 on a random NFL game. I'm trusting Jersey Jerry,
No,
and Jersey was the only one that didn't have his win, and it was Tampa Bay -3, and they lost in overtime to the fucking Browns. So lost that, and but my plan was if I win that one, I'm putting it all on the over for the Sunday night game, and of course the over
the
hit
over
like in the
was
first half.
as easy as it's
Yeah,
ever
but that
been.
was my lesson. That was like a lesson from God that said, "Stop it, Mike. You've been on a great run. The Buckeyes didn't work for you Saturday night. Get your money out. Enjoy it while you can. It's over for now. You're moving to Texas. I'm moving to Austin. I'm not going to be able to be gambling out there anymore. So it might be time. I'll
Don't
be back.
chase.
I'll
It's a
be
good
back."
lesson to learn out there, guys. Bet responsibly.
I was not
Um,
responsible. And I was fat and happy, dude. I was fat and happy. I was in a cabin in the woods out in the Smokies. And honestly, I was just living that carbohydrate high life. And I just started just fucking betting.
Thanksgiving weekend, years and years ago, went 12-0. Just had two
Damn.
grand. Just had a nice little 2 grand in the account.
Beauty.
Immediately went to Best Buy, bought a MacBook. the next week, I just got absolutely fucking crushed, like, down. It was just a it was the worst.
Well, you bought the MacBook.
Yeah, yeah, and then I couldn't pay the bookie, so lesson learned. Lesson learned. You
Oh,
had to,
you didn't buy
oh,
the
no,
MacBook with your winnings.
no, I did, but then, when you got a bookie who will give you some credit, and you think, you're just gonna hit 12-0 again, ride the heater of a lifetime,
"Babe, I'm going to the
fucking
bank."
0-7 before the noon games are over, bad things can happen. That's all I
But
gotta
dude,
say.
I get it though. I get that itch to be like, "No, but the next game, I'm gonna get it back." Like, this is a no-brainer. Tom Brady.
There's just no better feeling. There's no better feeling than getting a live line when, like, a team goes down and you're just like, absolutely not, and just
Mhm.
hammer it, and then, like, Tennessee or, Alabama then just, like, blows out Auburn, you just feel like the smartest person in the world. No better feeling.
Yeah, I know. I haven't really got into, like, the in-game live betting. I've
Oh, it's the best.
because I've the Buckeyes have given me success with my
You
predictions that I
haven't
just kinda
needed to.
ride
You
it.
haven't
Yeah,
needed them.
I ride it, but yeah, I don't know. I might have to switch
So
it up.
so real quick, Kansas TCU is the early game, 11 a.m.
What's the spread?
TCU
I don't know
minus
why
two
I'm
and a
asking. I don't
half.
wanna know. I don't wanna know.
TCU minus 2.5.
Oh, god damn it.
62. I know it's early. I know it's a championship game.
Jared Addison says, "I get my cousin in Louisiana to log into my DraftKings and bet for me. He lives in Alabama." I did that. I was living in North Carolina the beginning of the season, and I had my dad. I had my dad who struggles with apps, just to put it kindly, log into my Barstool app, and it did fine. He did fine for me.
Yeah, but
But
now he's on a government list and he's not happy about it.
yeah, probably, probably. He
Um,
probably still has like a piece of tape over his camera.
it's weird. Every game. So you got the TCU game at 11, LSU Georgia obviously at 3 on CBS, along with UCF Tulane
Did that line move at all? They had to have moved that line, the Georgia LSU line.
17.5.
I guess that's kinda what it's been.
It shot up when Daniels looked like he was dead on the ground a couple times, at Kyle Field. It shot up to, like, 20, 22, I think, and then Daniels is somehow, like, trotting on the field and throwing a touchdown that wasn't the next drive after, like, dying. Um,
He was in a boot. I think he is back. Also, injury news, I think Bernard Converse should be back, ready to roll,
yeah,
so
that's why it makes sense. Utah USC is Friday night.
Oh, little Friday tease. What's
Yeah,
that?
well, USC minus 3, 67.
God. Points, dude. I listen,
There's nothing more fun than cheering for points.
it
Cheering
is
for unders, there's just no worse feeling than, like, being pissed when some
I
dude
hate
breaks
it.
a 65-yard touchdown.
I hate it, dude. Like, the week before when I had a great weekend, it was all overs. It was just Pac-12 overs, just nailing
Mhm,
them.
and you're just like, "Oregon State, touchdown."
Oh, you can't explain the
Um,
parlays, Jared. Jared says trying to explain what a parlay is, it gets a little tricky. Yeah, I kept it simple. I kept it simple,
yeah, then you start getting into teasers. Teasers are what throw people.
but when you're using
Um,
DraftKings, you gotta get those custom parlays going. Same with FanDuel.
yeah, Purdue, Michigan, Clemson, North Carolina are both on at the same time, but I thought the Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten were at the same time, which would have been very strange. And then Sunday, we get, college football rankings and I guess bowls. So,
I guess bowls.
I don't know. I don't have anything else. You good?
I'm good.
All right, boys. Well, hopefully LSU can give us a good like
Good
something to
win.
root for in the SEC championship game.
Give us a dude wipe. That's all
Toddy
we need.
toddy. Roll Tide.
Damn it.
War Eagle.
Over and out.
Fight on.
Over and out.
Fight on.
Over and out.
I don't know. I need to think of another